Hi, hello, I'm Pash. Let me just start off by saying I do not have a script prepared for this video, so it's gonna be a little chaotic. All I have is bullet points with me, so I do apologize. Now, as you can see, I have a new live2d model. It's a little clunky, as you can see from the eyes. It's struggling, it's doing its best, but it's struggling. I really like the hat and the eyes, even though the rigging could be better. Anyhow, I finally had some free time to really sit down and record a video, so I kind of used that opportunity and with this finished model, just sat down to record. I tried to record several times now, but it didn't really work out that well, so this video should have been out already, but by the time I picked a proper recording, it took a while. Kind of hit a milestone in a way, is that I bought this Huey on canvas that I had a previous video on. If you watched till the end of the last video, you know that it doesn't work. I had to give it to the service for them to fix, but now it came back and it worked just fine. It worked amazingly, maybe even. It's a very nice waste of money and trinket that I have. It's definitely unnecessary and I did not need to buy it. A screenless tablet is good enough, and a display tablet it's very fancy, it is very nice, but it's a bit much and I probably shouldn't have bought it. It may be not the best financial decision, but I regret nothing. There's also another reason why I started to record this video. That is because my life situation has been a lot more stable now. And I just wanted to finally get a video out there because I just really like recording and posting videos, even though I don't have any plans to be a YouTuber, but it's still very fun to make videos and I've always really liked it. Okay, now I've had the proper housing, proper really amazing roommates, and just proper living situation right now. I even go to therapy, I get medical attention for any issues that I'm having, and I've been doing pretty alright actually, so I feel like it's the proper time to focus on my art goals, which is the next segment. I think the main art goal that people should have, or just as artists overall we should have, is actually to just avoid burnout. I feel like burnout is one of those red hot dangerous things that we all try to avoid, but at some point we all experience either art block, burnout, or some form of this. And I feel like as artists, if we want to keep our art going long term, should try our best to avoid burnout and keep art fun for us. That's why my first best most important goal is avoiding burnout. Hopefully it works out for me. Keeping art fun isn't all that easy. There's also this pressure that art should be fun. It doesn't always have to be fun, but my secondary goal is to sharpen my skills so I can get a job in the art industry. If you watched my previous video, you know that I talked about wanting to get a job in North Current, or at least some sort of company that will hire me as a pupil or a student, as I'm still in school. I'm thinking that after I finish school, I could finally get a job in the art industry and work full-time, as I'm working part-time jobs right now and not really having a proper full-time job. I know it's a bit too early for me to have a proper full-time job, as I am 18 and I forgot I'm 19 and that's a bit young for me to actually having a proper job. But it doesn't mean that I'm not trying to get a job. I guess I can't even work right now because I'm in school. Either way, the main realization I had really was actually that I don't have clear art goals in mind. So I thought, how could I figure out what my art goals are? And I realized to figure out what your art goals are, you just have to ask yourself, what's your biggest struggle in art right now? And I feel like you get your art goal then and there, because your art goal is like a solution to the issue you're having right now. And the issue that I'm having right now is that I don't really have a proper routine when it comes to my artworks. When it comes to my art, I spontaneously sit down. I get this really hyper-focused kind of thing, and I sit down for hours, I draw, and then I ran out of energy and I stopped drawing. And I do not come back to that piece ever. I just call it done. And I have this time limit in my brain every single time I draw, because I feel like I only have these 6 or 5 hours on this piece, and that's it. Because I don't even like get up to get water. I very rarely do that. I just sit and I draw. And this is the process that I've been using for many years now. My main pieces that I did were all done using this process. Now, there's a lot of issues that I won't even mention with this kind of process. Obviously, my works aren't as polished. I don't start them properly, therefore they're pretty choppy, and they just could be so much more better. And now when I look at my portfolio, or to be more accurate, I don't have a portfolio. What I have is a gallery. So basically, my works are a gallery. They're not a curated collection of works towards some sort of company or position. So they're just, in my style, some artworks, and that's it. And that's not really enough to get me hired, I don't think. Even so, I'm not sure why I'm even talking about getting hired, because I can't even work full time right now. I'm still thinking about it though. The result of my sort of spontaneous process is that I have lots and lots of unfinished artworks, very bad quality artworks, as well as a huge lack of consistency when it comes to my work, which I am trying to fix with very unrealistic solutions at the moment, because my perfectionism gets in the way. So I haven't even had a proper session of like creating a proper piece in a very long time. The only time was when I truly had a proper art session was maybe 4 years ago now, when I made those 2 pieces of crouching characters. And for somebody that's been drawing for 5 years, I have very little drawings that are actually finished, which makes me kind of embarrassed, because I feel like some artists have just so many beautiful artworks, and I barely have anything finished. So that's my main issue that I'm dealing with right now. I think the way that I'm going to be trying to solve it is by integrating a proper art routine into my day-to-day life. And after I integrate a proper art routine into my day-to-day life, I will be using the ideal workflow that I have curated here, that consists of 12 steps. Does my perfectionism sound to you people? Can you hear it? Can you hear my perfectionism right now? So the first step to making an art piece is actually getting the idea and the inspiration for it. Once you have the inspiration, you get to look at the references, any 3D models, any kind of palettes, any kind of the colors that you'll be using. You'll understand what kind of atmosphere do you want to create, what kind of questions do you want to provoke, or it may not be as deep as that, and you simply want to have a goal or a simple idea. Then, once you collect the references and you start with color palettes, you practice for it. You make sketches, like what kind of pose you want to make, what kind of hand positions you want to make, and you kind of make a little few sketches, rough sketches around, just to get a feel for what kind of final sketch will it be. And so the final sketch won't be as intimidating because you'll be spending hours on it. So maybe you should prepare a little bit. I'm talking about myself here, so it's like maybe I should prepare a little bit. After that, I finally go into the final stages of the preparation phase, which is thumbnailing the art piece, because the first version isn't the best. So after the prep phase, I go into the final drawing phase, which is the rough sketch, the detailed sketch, the refined sketch. And then goes all the flat colors, rendering, final effects, all that. And there's a very important last step that I feel like I should mention here. And that is probably going to be the feedback. Now, feedback. Very important. When it comes to drawing, I think drawing in a bubble won't do you as much as drawing in a community will, because you don't get to see your artwork from all the angles that you could in theory. If people get to actually look at your work, you will understand all the different viewpoints, and that will make your artwork, I guess, feel more full dimensional, if that makes sense. Basically, you will have a better understanding of what your artwork lacks and what your artwork is good at. So what your artwork gets right, kind of. So yeah, this is basically the ideal workflow that I would very much like to have, but I do not. I sometimes try to follow it, but it feels very intimidating because of all these steps. So I'm gonna try my best to make a more flexible version of this. I will try my best to make a more flexible version of this. Basically, to follow these steps, but not one-to-one. Like, you can look for references first, then have the idea, or you can sketch the thumbnailing first, then look for references. It's not so strict, basically. But I feel it's a good guide to use if you're struggling with art routine or workflow yourself. So, of course, the main thing is to actually put in some effort into it, and I feel like I can conquer anything. But for me, I have some issues that kind of makes it difficult for me to put effort into things. I have issues with motivation, with my focus. So yeah, I feel like this would really help me out if I would utilize it. That's another thing for me, is that I don't think I lack in skill. Well, yeah, I lack in skill a lot. But I don't think I utilize my skills as much as I could, because I have this time limit and I don't put as much preparation and kind of time and tempo into my work that I could. And that's kind of the sad part, because I've been drawing this way for years and I did never actually stop to reflect on what kind of workflow do I use to do my art and what could I change to make it better. Because I often focus on improvement quite a lot, but I never truly stop and think, wait, maybe the way I'm doing things isn't very good. And yeah, I think that this workflow would really work well for me. Now, the artwork that you're seeing right now, I haven't even mentioned it, but it was also a very spontaneous piece of artwork that I finished in like 3 hours, maybe 2 hours, and I did it all in a single sitting. I think I managed to once stand up and get some water, but I don't think I even took a proper break, to be honest. That's kind of my issue when it comes to drawing, but yeah. I would very much like to hear if you relate to me in any sort of capacity, as I really like reading comments, and if you have a similar experience, or if you have a way to solve this, I would very much like to hear your opinions and thoughts about this. And if you've already solved this, or if you haven't solved this yet, or maybe you don't have this problem at all, I would very much appreciate if you'd leave a comment. And that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Goodbye.